Good afternoon, everybody. We're still waiting for some people, so it will take a few minutes and then we'll start. This is my agenda, just a short agenda. I want to start with talking a little bit about racking, about warehouse equipment, about scanning and barcodes, about some advantages of WMS, and of course a demo of Lisa WMS. The reason why we're doing this is if you're talking about a warehouse, it's always more than software. We're talking about the system, racks, tools, and software. It's the whole thing. So let's go for a start. This is a warehouse. I'll come back to this. This is the warehouse operation where we're starting and talking about. You're seeing below. You see the racks with divided in this case in units. I'll come back to that just before the demo and explain a little bit more about that. So let's have a focus on the racks, and I'll go have an idea. I give you an idea about the equipment that we're gonna use. Racking. Well, a warehouse is of course more than software alone. If you have your warehouse in zones or not in zones, depending on what you want, you have to store your your materials, your items. Then you can do that on different ways. You can do that with different storages. I want to tell a little bit about that. Here you see racks with containment storages. It's actually what you have is maybe you have small items. You don't want to put a barcode on it, a barcode sticker. So you put the barcode, stick it on the basket, and put everything in that basket, and put the basket into a bin. So you can take out those baskets and take out from there, take out your items. That's a way to do storage, because it's important. Sometimes you have lack of space, so you want to optimize your whole warehouse for storage. What you here see is actually flow racks for items, box and pallets. Main thing for flow racks also is to to save space, because actually what you can do is you can put racks together. You don't need an aisle between it. It can be normal flow racks where the products easily flow to the front, and you can replace them from the back. You can also have it for boxes or for pallets. If you have them for pallets, you can have them double deep. Again, saving space. Pallets, when one pallet is empty, you can pull the other one to the front, and you can take it from there. All the ideas of those racks is to save space and to work efficiently in your warehouse, depending on the items that you have. You can also have flow rack for hand picking. In this case, actually, I've got on the right side is a nice picture of a customer of ours who has some medical stuff which they supply people with. So what they do is they walk along the racks and take out the items and let the basket go over the racks to the end. That's one way to do it. So again, here depends on your product, it depends on your way of working, and that in their case they're also replenished from the back and taking up front and putting it in a basket. You got also the high storage, and what I tell here also, it's let's say it's space saving racks. It's a nice story what you have here. You see here small aisles where you have special equipment which runs over an electrical wire, and you go up and down to take your items. You can't turn. The thing goes automatically. One person can work with it. To give you an idea, is we had a company called Maple Leaf Food in Canada, and actually they were thinking about a new warehouse. But as traditional, what they had a warehouse with racks, and in between the racks there's a lot of space, maybe 20 feet or something like that, and the forklift trucks could even turn there. So also a remark of one of our consultants was, okay, you need more space. you want to build a new warehouse, but it's your look at the interior of the mapping of your warehouse. Because if you take high storage and you take the electrical wires in the on your floor, you can easily pick and use much more space than you're using now, because you have now useless space for turning your forklift trucks. Of course, you need to do another investment, not in another building, but in another equipment. End of story. This company changed their warehouse interior, and they worked with high storage saving, space saving racks, and that's how they do it traditionally. So again, it depends even what kind of goods you have, also how you want to work, what's the best way to work with the goods. But here you see this is also an opportunity of saving space in your warehouse. Warehouse equipment, we already talked a little bit about it. You have different types of forklifts. We saw on the on top, we saw that space saving forklifts. We have the carts on the right side where you put your baskets on and you can fill it. You see the traditional forklift truck on the right side. You've got, let's say, a far reach forklift truck to do that. It all depends on the type of product that you have and how you want to work within your warehouse. But it's important to choose the right equipment so you can work on the most efficient way. Of course, WMS should support all this way of working, but this is how a lot of companies work. Choose the right equipment and work accordingly to it. Scanning and barcodes, of course, there's more. You have racks, you have you have your equipment, but still, your main thing is your item, your goods, and that's all about scanning and barcoding. What I wanted to tell you about that is a little bit about RFID scanning and also a little bit about barcoding. First of all, about RFID scanning, radio frequency. So it goes through the air. It's a special type of scanning. Actually, what you need, and you see that on the picture, you see the two markers on each side, the gray markers. Those balls, you go through it. In the boxes, there is a tag, what we call. It's a tag that sends out a signal. And that's scanned by those poles which are there, and that way you know exactly what's going in and out. You can have different types of tags. You can have the hard tags, which you see on the left side, and you can have the RFID tags. So that's a way of working and getting in. Then it's all done automatically. You don't need to scan each boxes. That's done by the equipment you see on the picture. Normal RF barcode scanning is something you do with a device. You need for that, of course, a few antennas in your warehouse, and you need your barcode, your scanners, your handheld. Devices can differ. You see two examples. Left side is a hand scanner. Mostly people have also high reach scanners, so they can even scan something which is on the top of your rack. On the right side, it's a simple example of a customer of ours. What you have there is a simple phone where the warehouse system, Lisa in this case, is running on your phone in the browser, and you have a simple wireless hand scanner. Easy. The point is you have at least one hand free. You can even put the scanner in your pocket. The big one you won't be able to do it, but with this small one you can in your pockets, and you have two hands free. Depending again how you work in the warehouse, it's an easy, simple, efficient solution if you need to work with boxes and you don't need high reach barcode barcode scanners. So again, it depends again how you work within your warehouse. Why use barcodes? If you're talking about barcodes, you can of course write down everything, but what we see in warehouses, that at least more than 60% of the errors in the warehouse happen at receiving. most of the errors happen at receiving. If you do it as an example on 3 million entries, there may be 10,000 human errors. If everybody tries to work as perfect as possible, you still have 10,000 human errors. And then and when you do barcode scanning, you only have one error because the barcode scans what it is. It doesn't write it down wrong. And it's also faster. It's bleep, 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 and you can scan 9 times faster than a manual entry. You have, and that's one thing for sure, you have a very high payback for installation because it's more efficient. You can work faster. You can do the same work with less people. The other people can do something else. To give you a little bit of an example, you see on the right side, if that's something you should have to do manually, maybe you have to pick something or you have to write down. If you try to write down, and you can do it as a little exercise, write down the number, maybe the first number, write it down very quickly, and maybe also the other number, and see what happens if you do so. So I'll give you a few seconds to, if you want to try to write it down. If you have done it, then we'll go to the next picture and see what kind of things that will happen. A barcode scanner will scan what's shown here. If you do it manually, I think you have time enough, and we go to the common mistakes, then I'll explain you a little bit. The original is 13245776890. One error that makes a lot is that people don't look correctly. They make the substitution. Instead of the 5, they write down an S. It could also be that somebody has in his mind 1234 and writes 1234 and it's 1324. So that's the transposition error that you've got. And you also have an omission error where somebody forgets a number. Where the X is, they write 124576890. So that's all the kind of errors you can have when you do it manually. A barcode scanner scans always the correct number. Barcodes you can have in different types, different dimensions. The first one is the first dimension. It's the traditional barcode. It's one code, one number you scan. You can also have 2 dimensions. You can have double information. You can have more information, let's say, in the barcode. And the summum of that is the matrix. That's also used what we call for GS1 labeling. There you can have much more information in your barcode. You could have a serial number, a SKU number, an explanation date, maybe a lot number. So it could even be that the barcode scanner has to read maybe more than 1,000 characters, and it can be done easily with the barcode scanner. It reads and puts it in the software. Imagine that you have to write down all that information. At this place, it's going to be in ones. A good warehouse system should support the GS1. So you see here also a little bit the history with one dimension, but also the future with GS1 labeling, where all the information you need on the product will be in a barcode on the product. I told you in the beginning that we would come back a little bit about optimizing warehouse layouts. A warehouse is more than only software. Warehouse optimization is more than only software. It's also the warehouse operations. I told you, you see here below your warehouse with your racks and your zones. You have seen defined here unit zone, case zone, a pallet zone, and maybe a fixed location. It could also be that you have a zone with freezer for cold products or whatever. So that way you can divide your warehouse in zones. Of course, you can also have one warehouse where people run through the whole warehouse. If you divide it in zones, people can work in particular zones. Maybe they need to wear a specific clothing. If you have a warehouse where you have a part which is in the freezer, okay, then people need special clothing for that. So that way you can split your warehouse depending on your needs. And you see all the bins and all the racks are barcode labeled. So if you want to pick, you can always scan and make sure you pick it from the right place. And of course, there will be the system will guide you in one flow through the warehouse based on how you prefer it. You want to start picking first left and then right in the aisle, or doing only the first left side and come back on the right side. Maybe you want to start at the bottom and go to the top and then to the next bin and down, or you're gonna up first down and then go up again. And we can define it. You can give priority on picking. Maybe you have products on the top which you actually want to use for replenishment, so you can tell me they have less priorities if needed for picking. The system will guide you maybe 3 bins further and pick the same product instead of letting you go up in an area where you don't want to pick. So that's all things you can set up in your warehouse system. What you also can do in your warehouse system, and we see here all an example, a receiving area where you can do container receiving, or you can receive a truck. Now on the receiving part, you can work with license plates. License plates are actually what we say is a number for a temporary bin, and that can be a pallet. So what happens if somebody unloads a truck, they unload the pallet, they have mostly the barcodes, predefined barcodes on a sticker. They put a barcode, which is actually what we call a license plate, a number on the pallet. You scan it, and further on, you scan each product. You scan each product which is on that pallet. That way, the warehouse management system knows what's on the pallet and knows what's received. Later on, you can either, or somebody of your colleagues can move the whole pallet into a bin, or you can say, no, I want to put all the items, different items on the pallet. I want to put them in the different bins. So you can make one route through your warehouse, through your aisles, and put the items in place. We also see here a repacking area. Of course, repacking is also important. There are different ways with repacking. You can have products which you want to put together in a box. So what you can do, you can say, I'm going to put 2 boxes on the pallet and just pick in the boxes. That's one possibility. It could also be that it's easier that you put the products, let's say, all together on the pallet, go to the repack area, and in the repack area, they put them together in a box. An example is you could have a chair which is contained, that's, let's say, something that really should be done on the repack area, by the way. If you have a chair, and maybe you have a chair which has a chrome frame, maybe a black frame, a red frame, a brown frame, you have different types of cushions, different colors. So you don't put all those chairs in different types all together. No, you store all the colors together, the cushions together with the color, the frames together. So what you're going to do is, if you're going to pick, you're going to pick the chromes with the right cushions with the color. You go to the repack area, and the repack area, they put it together in the correct box. So if somebody has a black a black chair with a red cushion, they're going to pick the black frame and the 2 red cushions and put that into one box. That's what they do at the repack area. And from the repack area, you go actually to your shipping area. Of course, if you don't need to repack, you can also go directly to your shipping area. Now you see on the right side, you also see here an inspection area. It could be that you have to inspect, especially when you're in the food branch, you have to inspect products of quality. Could also be products before they go out and need to check if they really can be sent out. So you can also work with an inspection area. So, and you probably know, you're in the business, there's a lot things to take care of and a lot of things to consider if you're talking about optimizing a warehouse, also considering the warehouse software. Now, talking about that, the question is, why would we implement a warehouse management system? Now, if you implement a warehouse management system, you can increase your productivity up to 50%. Why? You can do real-time location tracking. You can have directed put away, directed picking. Your transactions with scanning are much easier. Your accuracy also goes up by scanning. by receiving, by picking. Serial and batch tracking is easier because you can scan it and you can track them. The system exactly knows where your items are, and not the least, you can also improve what we call your customer satisfaction. Picking, packing, and shipping the right product. It looks easy, it writes down easily, but that's where a lot of companies who don't work with warehouse management system have a problem. If you work with the warehouse management system, it will tell you what to pick, to check it, what to pack, and to ship it. So you ship the right product. You get big improvements on that side too. Going from, let's say, all the things around a warehouse system, going to Lisa distribution management system, warehouse management system. Telling you a little bit about that. It's Lisa. You see a lady, but Lisa has a more, let's say, Lisa is actually in this case short for logistic inventory scheduling application, and that's for us promoted by a nice lady. I'm talking about customers, some value proposition of our customers. We have a customer that calls Swarovski Optics. Optics, you know, are all the small items, and a lot of them are also serialized. So what we see there is by implementing a warehouse management system, the warehouse headcount went down from 12 to 8. They did a lot of things with serial numbers in and out and tracking them, and now they could do it with scanning. The system records everything, so they could work much quicker and do much more work with less people. Another one is Dissan Senatorial. Those guys really had problems with their accuracy on receiving and stuff like that. So they went from an accuracy from 45%, they improved that to more than 95, from 54 to 95 within 6 months. That's what you see in a lot of companies. If you implement a warehouse management system, your inventory accuracy, and that's what you want, is going really up. We had another one, it's called Neotech. They had a lot of shipping errors, and shipping errors for them meant also penalties they got, because if you send the wrong products, your customers won't be happy. So actually they virtually eliminated that after the implementation of Lisa. The right products were all sent. We also have Ganesh Mills. That's a typical customer. It was a messy warehouse. People were doing everything and couldn't find products and stuff like that. And now after implementation, it's a well organized and structured warehouse, and they managed to improve that way their productivity with more than six times. Highway 2 does in bikes, and they increased their inventory accuracy from a 63% to more than 95. Also following scanning, directed picking, directed put away, they went up to the 95%. Just to give you an idea about that. If we're talking about Lisa, then we're talking about a web-based application. Web-based application runs in a browser. You see that on the left side. It's a browser where it runs. It can run on any device. You see a scanner on the right side, but it could also be a tablet or a PC or a laptop. Lisa will run it. As long as it has a browser, Lisa will run there. And with that, we can process any warehouse movement. And again, you can install Lisa either on site on a server, or you can use it, you can host it or do it in a private cloud, depending on how you want to work. An overview of the functionality of Lisa, that's in a nutshell. I will come back to that in the demo. Within Lisa, we can work, and you saw it already, with multi-zone management. We can do batch serial number tracking. We can do FIFO and FEFO. The receiving with license plate, I explained that, the temporary bin. We can do container unload with manifest management. You can unload containers. Either the goods in your container are your property, let's say when it's leaving the harbor and it's coming to you, or the goods are your property by unloading the container at your at your dock. So it depends a little bit, but we can work with that. You can also do the directed put away and picking. Lisa will tell you how to run through in one flow in your warehouse through your aisles. Repacking, we talked a little bit about it. Shipping, we can also do cross-docking. When you have purchase orders receiving, you have sales orders waiting for those goods. You don't put them in your warehouse and then take them out. No, you put them directly to a cross-dock area where you can take them for your sales order. We also have production functionality for those of you who work with SAP production. We can also do the picking for production, the transfer to production, the receipt from production with the finished goods. And if there are any items left over, any raw material, then we can also book the returns. Inventory transfers, you can transfer an item from one bin to another, can also be a pallet, and we're able to transfer a whole bin from one side. Maybe you have a bin in the back with the high turnaround. Maybe you want to move it to the front because people don't have to walk that far. That's something you can do with that inventory transfer. The cycle counting on hand scanners, we can do it directed and non-directed. Now the directed is a very interesting one. That you can set up that you want to count maybe 4 times your warehouse in a year in a running operation. Somebody who's idle can say, I want a cycle count, and then Lisa will send him to a zone and then to an aisle and to a bin, and it will tell him or her start counting here. And when he's finished, then the next product, count that product. And he can do that for 1 or 2 hours. Maybe then the truck is coming in, he has to unload. He can stop, unload the truck, come back after 2 hours and start again. And Lisa will exactly know where to start, where he has left, and where he can start again. And they can also do that with multiple people. And in the meantime, if something has changed, maybe there was a replenishment or whatever, also Lisa will take that in consideration. Again, Lisa can replenish. We can define min and max levels, and also we can work with volumes. If you volume products, related products, we can have the volume of the bin, and we can say if there's enough space to put the product in, looking at the volume. RMA, the merchandise returns, we can also work with that in combination with SAP service calls. And last but not least, we have an analytic overview of on receivable, on the put away, on the picking, on the shipping. You get numbers. I'll show you that. In an overview, it's a real-time barcode system. It's directed put away, directed picking, and that way we optimize the warehouse activities. You always have a visibility in your warehouse, and not less important is we can work with multi-physical separated warehouses. Lisa is built on, let's say, 3 modules. We have a step-in module like a starter pack. We have an express, and we have a distribution. Depending on which level you want to start, these 3 versions all have also options. So that way we want to accomplish that you only buy what you need, that you don't buy functionality you don't need. That's the way we have set up Lisa. A little bit about the people that are already using ours. We're in the UK. We have Baumhaus in the UK, who does a lot of things with furniture. We have Nemesis in the UK working. It's a full service distributor with cars, all kind of small items for cars and stuff like that. In Belgium, we've got Shitsuke, who's making big tanks and stuff like that, and everything that has to do with that, piping and stuff like that. We have Lambrechts. It's all what they do is central heating, ventilation, and stuff like that. All parts they take care of that. Universal products with hardware products for buildings and stuff like that, doors, windows, etc. Neotech, this is one that we've got in the US. The Swarovski we talked about with the small items for your binoculars and stuff like that. And this is something we're all looking to have a look at, is the demonstration of the product. So let's start with that. And let's say when I finish the product and there are any questions, then we can do that. We can do that at the end. If there's a real question, then an urgent question, you can do it in between. But let's start with the demonstration first. Oh, sorry. Let's start with Lisa Mobile. This is Lisa running in a browser. We can validate here, and then what we can do is we can log in. Based on the login, here the user gets a menu. So a user is attached to a user group, and the user group has certain menu options. So that's why you can differ between the different users. We validate that. If you validate that, then you get here a default filled screen, is which warehouse do you want to work, so you can change the warehouse you're working in. That could be an in transit or a main or another one. If you have more printers in your warehouse, maybe you have a big warehouse, printers on one side and printers on the other side. If you have to print labels, you want to do the printing of the labels, you want to do that nearby and not on the other hand. So therefore, you can choose your printers here. If we validate that, you will get here a menu, a Lisa menu with inbound, outbound, production, RMA, transfer request, and internal. Just through a quick run through all the menu options. If we go here for inbound, in inbound, we'll have receiving. We'll also have container receiving. The container receiving means we are able to load a manifest, a document which is with containers, into SAP Business One, and from there you can do the receiving, or you can even do a goods received and place it in an in-transit warehouse. So you have options there. The good thing is you can scan a product, and if there are different products on pallets, Lisa will exactly know to which purchase order that product belongs. Now, after receiving, we can do the put away items, we can do put away pallet, and we can do the SKU labels. Outbound, in outbound, we can pick, we can do the packing, the repacking. If a sales order is cancelled, we can put it back into inventory. Of course, we can also, after that, we can do shipping. Again, I told you we can also go directly from picking to shipping, and we can print packing slips or packing labels. Production has actually the picking for production, then you can transfer to production. We can combine that in one step if necessary. If the product is ready, we can do a product receive. Accordingly, we generate the SAP documents for that. If there are any items left, we can do a component return. Manage RMA, customer side and supplier side. If some goods are coming back, then the people in the warehouse will know. We'll generate an RMA number, and it's linked to the service call in SAP. For your information, we have a small add-on for that. In the new SAP 9.3, there is RMA functionality in SAP. So in the near future, we don't need our small add-on in SAP. We can purely work with what's in SAP and with this stuff in Lisa. For those who work with SAP Business One, of course, know the transfer request. We can work with that, going from one warehouse to another warehouse based on request movements. And then we have some internal stuff like an inquiry looking for the products based on serial number, product code. We can adjust inventory, the inventory transfers we can do, the cycle counts non-directed, and we can do replenishment. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to start with the inbound. Based on the inbounds, we're going to do some receiving. Just to give you an idea what we can do here. We need here a purchase order. Now, for the purchase order, I have to go to SAP Business One. And let's go to purchasing. Let's go to purchase order. I'll take the last purchase order. What I'm going to do is quite easy. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to put supplier in here. So all the information is here. I can put a remark here in the purchase order. Be careful with unloading. And if I now go, and just to give you an example, if I now go to, let's say, purchasing, looking at this purchase order, 572, and I put that number in here, 572, and I say next, then the system says the entered order does not exist. Just to show you how Lisa is connected with SAP Business One, that's correct, because if you have looked carefully, I didn't add this purchase order. So if I add this purchase order to SAP Business One, I've got the purchase order here. If I now go to Lisa, put in 572, say next, now the system will recognize the purchase order. It says it's for 4 Specs Incorporated. It will ask me for a license plate. So now I have to scan, let's say, the barcode the receiver has on a roll with him. He puts the sticker on it, on the pallet, and he scans it. So what we do here is we're gonna put a number, we scan it, we say next, and now we can start scanning the products. There are a few ways. Again, the menu here is configurable. What you see here, some people only work with the top. That means you can do scan product. If you can't scan, you put in the number that's on the barcode. If the barcode's not correct or whatever. There's also a possibility that it shows that you show the purchase order and the items in the purchase order, and you can use the touch screen on your handheld. That's also a possibility. I will show both. Again, if you look here on top, you see remarks. That's the remark we have on the purchase order. So if I click on remark, it will say here, be careful with unloading. That's coming directly out the remark from your purchase order. Now let's start with scanning the product. So I have put the license plate on it. I scan the product, the first product on the pallet. Let's say it's M1. Now it'll ask me, okay, M1, quantity 1. Say next. It will tell me, okay, now scan the next product. I did M1. So let's go here and do the M2. On M2 is here by touchscreen. Just one. Do the next. M3, quantity 1. Next. M4, quantity 1. Again, if you look at the screen here, the information that's presented here is configurable. For me, it's easy to show the order quantity. A lot of companies on receivable don't want to show the order quantity. They really want the people to count. So then you don't show that. And just say next. And everything is done now. See, everything is received. If I now click on done, I get a menu here. In this menu, I have the option. Maybe I made a mistake. So then I can throw away the scan and I can scan it again. Or maybe I want to have my own barcode label. Maybe I don't want to use of all suppliers the barcode labels. Maybe there are special suppliers that have specific barcodes I don't want to work with, so I can put my own barcode on it. So you are able here to print the barcode for certain products. If everything is okay, you just say save. And at that moment, everything is received. So if I go back into SAP Business One and I do here a refresh, just have to wait a moment. I think I was too quick. Yep. You see here now the order is closed. And if I now go in SAP to the target document, then you will see that Lisa automatically generated the goods received. So that's done on on receivable. The put away, I want to show you the put away of the items. The put away pallet is quite easy because if I do put away pallet, it'll ask me for a zone. If I say pallet zone, I say next, then it'll ask me for a pallet number. And then I go to the pallet zone, put the whole pallet. That's not what I want to show you here. I want to put all the 4 items that are on my purchase order. I want to put them in different bins. So I do the normal put away here. I select the zone, the case zone. I say license plate SI01. I scan it. Next. And now it will tell me go to bin 01C01 and put the product there. So I go to that bin. Now when I'm at the bin, I got 3 options here. Again, the options are optional. So I can put 1, I can put all 3. Request another location means in this case, I come at my bin. Everything is wet. I can't put the product there because there was a leakage. So I need to go to another bin. So I request another bin. Lisa automatically closes the original bin. So when it's cleaned, then the warehouse manager can reopen it again. The skip one is, if I want to skip, I'm going to my bin and there's a forklift truck working there. I can't reach it. So I say skip and then I'll come back later. Change location is whatever reason you want to decide yourself where you want to put it. So then you can say, okay, I'll put the location. The system is Monday morning proof. I always say, or when the guy that's doing the put away is distracted, he doesn't look carefully, he scans, but he scans the wrong bin. He scans the CO2. If he does so, and I say next, then directly Lisa says, that's not the correct bin. So make sure everything goes into the correct bin. So if I scan the correct bin, 01, I say next, then it'll ask me for the product. And then you will see here also, this is all part of configuration. Lisa will count in this case with 20 because in the purchase order, I told them there are 20 pieces in a box. There's a box with 20, with 6, with 10, and with 4. So that's what Lisa takes in consideration in this case. And I say here 20. I confirm. It will tell me go to the next bin, put the next product code, go to the next bin. Sorry, I have to put, of course, here the quantity first. Confirm. Now go to the next bin. Product code. Put the product in, the quantity. Confirm. And then take here, go to the last bin. Product code. And the quantity. Put in 4, and now I can confirm. So now the put away is complete. Say okay. So now I've done the complete put away. So let's go now to let's say the outbound part. We'll come later to some internal stuff. If you go to the outbound part and I'll start picking, then I need, of course, for my picking, I need a sales order. or a group of sales orders. Now, sales orders, I have to go to SAP, going to sales, to sales order. Same story. I'll take the last sales order. I do a duplicate. For me, easy. I put a customer in it. I put a delivery date in it. I tell, be careful with loading. And I add the sales order. So I can put in here my sales order 495, but what always happens here is you don't want to pick all your sales orders that are coming in SAP. So actually you want to release only the sales orders for picking that really need to be picked. Now, for that, we have, you know, maybe the pick and pack manager in SAP. We have another tool within SAP web-based. That's called Lisa Web. And I can log in here. And what we see here in Lisa Web is more functionality. First of all, in Lisa Web, you have an overview of all the alerts that are there. Maybe something wrong defined in SAP Business One, and it's going into Lisa, and it doesn't work. So then Lisa directly tells the system, okay, this is not correct. And maybe a GL account is not defined or whatever. That's what we can do. We have on the sales side the order picking priorities. I'll come back to that. We can do hard allocation. We can do the order status. We can see the exact order status. Is it picked? Are we packing or is it shipped? And you can look for different orders. We can have a shipping list. On the purchasing side, we can have, of course, the receipt list. We have an inventory with the item master data. It's coming from SAP, your inventory list. And maybe interesting, we have also the inventory transactions. So this is a detailed list of all the transactions that have been taken place in Lisa. In the most detail, with warehouse, with bin, source bin, where to go, if there's a pallet name, the product, the date and time stamp, the employee name, the reference, the SAP reference, and also all the quantities. So here you have the most detailed overview. And of course, if you search for something, you can really search here or select here or sort here. Of course, we have cycle count. If you do cycle counting, you can get cycle count results, and especially the cycle count results, which says, okay, there are not 10 in the bin, but there are 9. One is missing. Then that you can have an approval on the let's say an approval on the fact that you're missing 1 item. So it's going from 10 to 9. So you have an approval status on that. We have also our parameters, which mostly goes into set up the system. To give you a small idea how you set up the system is you see here all your parameters set up. I give you a simple example of your receiving. If you look at the receiving, you see here an option, display the quantity to receive. I switched it on. Of course, you can also switch it off. Same thing for if you don't want to scan and put in a number, but you want to scan all the items with the scanner, then you can say also receive items at one time for one at a time. So that's also optional. You can set that up that way. If you go here, we also have reports. So we have a whole list of standard reports with Lisa. If you have for inventory, we have several reports which you can use for location, for barcodes, for balances, for movements, etc., etc. All made in Crystal report. So that's in a nutshell what, let's say, your Lisa Web does. It's mostly for the warehouse manager or for people in the office. I want to go to my sales order picking priorities. The sales order picker priorities is an overview of all your sales orders and the orders that you want to release for picking. Now, I have a selection screen here. I can select by order or by zip code or by products, and then the system shows me all the sales orders that contain that product. I can use zip codes, warehouses, entry dates, ship dates. I do in this case display all. So I have got here on top, I got a list with sales orders that are not released yet for picking. And at the bottom side, I've got the sales orders that are released for picking. So how does it work? I can make the selection on this top screen. I can make sorts, selections, whatever I want. Give you an example. If I take the field customer, I put it on the top, the system will sort everything on customer. If I take the order date, put it on top, it will select it on customer and order date. So if I look in here, then you will see it's also sorted on order date. And then you have, let's say, the detailed information one step further. So you can drill down here on the information in in this one. In this case, it's a sales order with one product. The good thing is here, as an example, we also have pickable percentage for a lot of companies who only want to pick sales orders at 100% pickable. You can also add fields, and adding fields, I mean standard SAP fields or user-defined fields we can put into Lisa, meaning they need to be filled in SAP. For example, you have your own area codes you want to use. You fill them in SAP in user-defined field, and we show them here, and you can sort or select here your own area codes. When everything is ready, and let me put everything back here, the customer 2. If we close this one, let's go to my sales order 495. Find it. Then you see here, this is the sales order we just put in. If I select it here, checkbox, and I can say copy to release. So now it will go to the bottom. The sales order at the bottom, you have also possibilities to sort and select. And you can also group here. You can group sales orders, maybe to a specific area or to a specific transportation company, and you can give them the same group number. That will mean that the picker chooses the group number and he picks the whole group together. Of course, you can also print here a pick ticket. And for us, let's have a look at the sales order, because the sales order 495, if we filter, is here. So it means it's released for picking. And that's actually what we want to achieve here. We released it now for picking. So now I'm able to go into Lisa, the handheld, and select it for picking. So I go here in my handheld, put in 495. If it was a group, I could put in the group number and I had a series of orders. In this case, I'm putting in the order. I say next, and now the system says me, okay, select the zone where you want to start picking this sales order. In this case, it's the case zone where I have to pick, because probably they're only in the case zone. This is my customer. So I say in this case next, and now it tells me, okay, what's your license plate? Give the license plate, put a sticker on the card, or it could be a pallet. Scan it, and then Lisa will know what the license plate is. And then it says, okay, for this order, I can see the remarks of the order if I want to. Go to bin 01C01. I told you before, I have the possibility of putting four, let's say, 4 boxes or 2 boxes on the pallet and pick into the boxes directly. In this case, I put everything on a pallet and I do it afterwards. For putting it in different boxes, I can each time ask for the other license plate. I'm going here now, I'm going to bin. Scan, go to this bin, scan this bin. When I'm at the bin, I'll take the product, I scan the product, in this case the M01, and I put the quantity. I'll take a whole box, so I put 1 and I confirm. Then it tells me go to O1C02, the product, next, the quantity 1, and then of course it's number 3 here. Go to that bin. I go to that bin, I scan the correct bin, I take the correct product. I'll take the wrong product. I'll probably get an error message for that. 1, confirm it. Then the last one, go to bin. I go to that bin, I scan it, product code, scan the product, and then it'll ask me for the quantity 1, and I confirm. And now the system tells me it's fully picked. So I've got now everything on my pallet. And now I could go directly to shipping, but I want to do some packing. What I want to do is with the packing, quite simple example, putting M1 and M2 in a box and M3 and M4 in a box. So I choose my order here. I say next. I get an overview of what I picked on my pallet. Again, I can work with the touchscreen, or I can just do it with scanning. I'll show you both. So if I scan the product, the M1, then ask me the quantity 1. I say next. Then I'll use, because it's easier, I'll use the touchscreen, MO2, say next, quantity 1, next. So now I've got the M1 and the M2 here. I've packed them, I've put them actually into a box together, and I can now say close confirmation. So now I can put them here in box number 1. So again, in box number 1, so now I can print a label on the outside that M1 and M2 are in that box, maybe even inside the box, so I can print more labels, and then I'm done. So I've got 2 products left, M3, M4. So I'll take M3. What we'll do is here, we'll put quantity 1. We'll say here next. We'll take the M4, next. We'll do quantity 1, next, and then we'll say, okay, this is something we'll also put in a box. So we'll put box 2, and we'll print stickers, and we're done. So now I've in the repack area, I've put everything in, let's say, in 2 boxes. So now I will go to my shipping area. I put 495 in. I say next, and now the system will know, okay, these are 2 boxes for this order. Put in a free on board number. Again, I can view the B1. Be careful with loading remark, and I also can enter a note which is sent back to SIP and put in a document. In this case, the delivery note. Now what I can do is I can say, okay, the guys did a good job at the repacking. I say load all, and everything will be ready here for shipping if I do so. I could also scan all the products again, but I don't think that's wise to do that. But maybe the guy wants to do and say, I want to scan the boxes. So he says scanned license. So I'll say the first one is box 1. And if I now go back, I'll see that box 1 is ready for shipping. Now, I can also do that for box 2. And if I now go back, you will see that box 1 and box 2 are both ready for shipping. So what I can do now is I can say ship. And it means now that everything is shipped. What does it mean in SIP? In SIP, if I go to the sales order and I do a refresh in my sales order, you will see here that the sales order is now closed. And if I go here to the target document, then you see a delivery is made also in SAP by Lisa. So that's, let's say, how a flow of receiving, put away, then a sales order, and picking, repacking, and shipping is done. We talked about production. Now, production works the same thing with picking and then transfer and received. RMA is based on SAP, in this case, service calls. So just an idea to give you an idea. If you go in SAP service, you go to a service call, what we'll do is we will ask in Lisa for an RMA number. Now, what people do is they put in a service call. We added some extra fields here. That is RMA. We put in the customer sales order. We say if it's a specific item or maybe all items that come back. In this case, a specific item. We have a tab called RMA where you put in this is the item that's coming back. It's broken. Based on the RMA number here that's generated, Lisa will know that this is the item that has to be that's sent back. So that will be, in this case, will be received. So what people will do in Lisa is they say receive customer RMA and put in here the RMA number. Oh, sorry. So that's how we did, let's say, the one for the RMA. Now, I clicked on the wrong button, but not a problem. We'll log in again. We'll validate. We'll now go. We have seen RMA. Now the transfer requests, we talked about it. I want to show you a few things about what we can do with internal functionalities. One is the inquiry. Let's say I've got the product code here, and I say I've got B1000 here. I say next. Oh, sorry. So this is the product. It's a printer label. Now the system, I can do this on the handheld. Of course, I can also run a report. It tells me if I put that on the handheld. Could also do that with the serial number or batch numbers. There are 1,641 in the warehouse. In our bulk location, there are 100. I've got the location where there's one left in 03A01, and I got also 2 in the other one. So you see here with different batches. So you see here all the different products, which you can do on your hand scanner. That's one possibility with the inquiry. Adjustment is an option that you should maybe only give your warehouse manager. If I have here a product code and say M1, what could be the case? It could be that you want to recount, or maybe you need a product for a trade show, so you go there and take one for a trade show, so the amounts go down in this case. So if I go here to the bin 10C, the system tells me here there are 307 in that bin. I'll take one for a trade show, and then I'll say next. The moment I change the amount, the system will task me for a reason. Is it failure? Is it broken? Or is it promotion? Now, let's say I use it for promotion. So I'll click promotion. That means the right gel accounts will be sent to SAP Business One. So the booking in SAP Business One will also be correct. And I say save. And from now on, there are 306 in there. We can do also inventory transfer by item. I'm not going to show if product by item means if I have a product here Next, it will ask me from warehouse to which warehouse, and then I can transfer it. I can also sorry, I can also do it by pallet. Then it will ask me for the pallet, and I can move the pallet. And I can do a batch transfer, and the batch transfer asks me from which bin to which bins, and then you can scan all the items that are going from one bin to the other. I already mentioned if you got a bin with a high turnaround, then you can take that to up to the front and move the whole bin. Cycle counting. Now the most interesting is of course the cycle count directed. If I go here, cycle count directed, let's say I want to start counting in the case zone, then if I say next, Lisa will tell me where to go counting, which bin, which product, and then the next product, the next product, the next bin, and that's how it works. If I stop, I can go on the next day. Lisa will remember where I left. And of course, the non-direct cycle count, that's where the warehouse manager tells you where to go. We can do replenishment, the let down, and the fill the bins. That's, let's say, in a nutshell, what we have here from Lisa. The last thing I wanted to show you actually is the analytic part. We have a dashboard in Lisa. And Lisa, this dashboard this dashboard shows you an overview of your performance. So you see here, it's the main warehouse. You see the performance of the location, each bin, what's the visits per day, what's the average pick quantity, and what's the bin turns. I can do the same numbers, show the same numbers for pickers. So what's the picker name? What does he, how many lines per day, how many items per day, what's his average pick time per day? So here you can analyze why is somebody picking more quicker than the other one. So you can have a discussion about it. Maybe you can help them with that. The same thing for your receiver. You have the numbers for your receiver. And the last one is for operations. Actually, this is in, let's say, in a nutshell, what we want to show you about warehousing and Lisa. I'm not sure if there are people with questions. It's